All right. Hey, everyone. We are so excited to have our team call get started here today. I'm going to make sure my phone, I should have done this before, is on Do Not Disturb. Okay, so we're going to get started. We have a really awesome call today that I think is going to be really helpful just as we continue on into December. I hope that you can leave today with like a really clear understanding of exactly what to focus on this month so that you can really have another month of growth in your business. Okay, before we get started, let's go ahead and open up in prayer. God, I just thank you so much for another chance to hop on a team call together and just for all the people who you have brought onto our team so far. We are just so grateful for the chance to partner together in this mission of helping families create true wellness for the long haul. I pray that today, as we meet together, that you would speak through me and Kristi and anyone else who might have it on their heart to share, just words of encouragement and things that will be able to help us as we continue to build our businesses. I pray too, just for anything that's on our hearts or on our minds that might just be filling us with a little bit of fear today or uncertainty. I just pray in Jesus' name that you would leave any doubt that we would have aside and that you would just help us to focus on the abundance that is truly ahead of us. Um, I just thank you again for each of these women and men and pray that you would work through us today and help us to glorify you as we show up here on social media and in person. In your name we pray, amen. Okay, so we have a couple of things that we're going to be talking about today. The first chunk, I'm going to kind of share just in general how I like to plan out months in terms of marketing. A lot of you that have come in the last couple months came at a really interesting time because we had the holidays, obviously, and so November was a little bit of a different month because Shackley had so many holiday sales and the Black Friday and things like that. But, that's not necessarily a quote unquote normal month. So as we kind of shift away, here's Jake, as we shift away from all the holiday sales and things like that, we really want to make sure that you feel equipped and kind of empowered to take action month to month so that you don't feel like you're not sure what to share about. So what we had been doing, for those of you who've been with me since the summer, what we had been doing that was working really well is that we were talking about kind of like half of the products one month and half of the products the other part of the month, in the sense of, sometimes when you look at the catalog, it's like, oh, holy cow, 300 products. Where do I start? What do I promote? And what am I supposed to be calling to action? And so what we found to be really helpful was like, okay, so the first month we were sort of still in like body mindset, like focus on wellness. We have one start date for the wellness group. And that was great. But then we realized, oh my gosh, we have this whole beauty side of our catalog that we could be talking about during those times of the month when it feels a little bit slow. Because at Body, for those of us who came from there, we'd have like one start date a month, and then you'd kind of push really hard before that group started. But really, though, there was like a couple weeks in there where you're kind of promoting, but also not. And so what we found to be really helpful was to switch to have the first half of the month at Shackley be focused on more of the skincare side and the beauty side. And then the second half of the month, we switched and focused on the wellness side, where we were then promoting Longevity Club for the start of the following month. So, for anyone that's new and that's not sure what Longevity Club is, it's basically just a community. It's a Facebook group that we have open to our entire team of ambassadors and any of their customers. You can feel free to add your customers to this at any point. All they need is an order of any size and they can be in there. And really, it's a place for us to just hold each other accountable to healthy habits, to expose our customers to different products that they might not have ordered yet. So we have that starting the first Monday of the month. But what we did a few months ago that was really fun is that we also did a natural Botox test group start date in the middle of the month. And so that was really big for us because it helped us to focus on promoting the wands. And what I'm really excited for all of you to experience is talking about the wands over a period of time. Because for a lot of you, you've started to, and especially with that sale, you started to talk about it. And isn't it cool that you already got if you were working, you already got wand sales, even if you haven't been talking about it for so long. But what I found and what several others found is that when we had been talking about the wands daily in our stories for months, really, since June, when we did have that sale, it was like crazy. Like it blew up. That's why my personal sales last month and so many others, Christine's on here too, were so crazy because we had been talking about it time and time again. And so for December, what we want to do is kind of go back to that. So, we're in this period where we just finished up Cyber Monday. And so if we're not careful, you can kind of fall into the like, well, what should I be promoting right now kind of thing. And so what I'm going to do, and you're welcome to join me if you want to, but as I was looking at December, I'm going to pull up the calendar here. What I was looking at is having a test group start for the wands on the 16th. And I just checked and it doesn't look like they're out of stock anymore. So we should be good to go as far as promoting the wands. But that way, if we start on Monday, the 16th, then we would have all this week to be promoting the wands and having those calls to action. And so really it's so simple. I mean, just talk about them in your stories every single day. And when you do, people are going to notice. They really are very easy to sell, but it does take consistency. You can't just talk about it one time or two times and then, not talk about them again. It takes that consistency. So if we focus on sharing the ones that the first 2 weeks, I would say, even though technically the deadline that they'll want to order by would be the 9th, you can keep talking about it, that week, and people can always kind of start late if they want to. But what we did is we just have some resources where we have a how-to video, because I was thinking too, we have so many people that ordered the wands in November, and some people are self-starters and they'll get their wands and they'll start using them. But there's a lot of people probably that are still like a little confused. They're not necessarily using them consistently. But if we say, okay, we're going to have a test group, they're going to be like, all right, I'm finally going to figure that routine out for myself. Because I know for me, when I got the wands, I was so inconsistent at first just because it wasn't part of my routine. But once we started to do the test group, that was really where I got super consistent and where my results happened too. So so that is what my plan is to promote. Um Slather that stuff on every day. Yeah, it feels so good once you get into the group. But yeah, so to have the test group for the ones, that's my plan, would be on the 16th. So my plan is to talk about the ones, and you can also sprinkle in the other skincare, but I'll tell you what I found is that the wands seem to be the gateway when it comes to our skincare, because a lot of people have some sort of skincare routine. So if you're just talking about skincare, they might be like it might kind of sound like white noise. But when they see wands, they're kind of like, what the heck are those? And it sort of stops their scroll a little bit. So what we found is that people that start with the wands, then they get in the website and they kind of see, oh, you have, the skincare too. And then they start to order that. And so actually, Liz, I see you nodding because Liz has had crazy success, which is her and I have talked about this together. We're like, who would have thought like we'd be selling so much skincare as like fitness influencers? But Liz, can you share real quick? Because you have had so much success with those, and her results, by the way, are like, I think why we're selling so many, because you're like forehead's crazy. But can you share what you've learned maybe real quick, just as we were promoting some of those test groups a few months ago?
Yeah, it's amazing what people will spend when you put the word Botox in front of it, but then say non-toxic. Because a lot of people I've been talking to, were spending hundreds of dollars on Botox, or they were about to like schedule an appointment because they were feeling defeated, and they're like, oh, this is one last shot I can do before going that route. But just by sharing like the wands, that fed into some like full skincare lines where I sold like the whole regimen plus the wands. I had a few of those. Other people, to get the free shipping, were trying deodorant or Energize and kind of like stacking things on, or like the mascara. And so I feel like it's a really, because the wands are priced at 125 with member pricing, you can kind of promote like, all right, get to 150 and get free shipping, and then they try another product. So I had a lot of sales like that. And I am not a skin person. I always saw people sharing skin routines. I'm like, that will never be me. And I've done it and I've done befores and afters. One thing I'll say with befores and afters, take some of your relaxed face because a lot of people were doing a lot of like smiles and I feel like some people were like, are those really legit? Because you can kind of you can change how much you smile and that might change the lines. So I did my relaxed face and just like my relaxed forehead lines really got a lot better and I feel like people trusted those results a lot more. So I'm gonna get back on it and keep promoting. But now that I mean I don't know, I probably sold like 30 to 40 and I have like no followers, guys. Like I'm not a influencer. But now I'm gonna be working on like refills and like you have to keep using them and trying to get like those second, third sales on them. So, but
Yeah.
that's what I did. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, you've been crushing it and you're so good at follow-up too, which is awesome. Thanks for sharing. So yeah, that's kind of the plan for the next week. Does anyone have questions on that? If you need examples too, I can post some people in the chat that maybe you'd want to go peek at their Instagram stories of how they do the wands, but just to give you a few ideas, I would say for the most part, most of my sales have come from Instagram stories with the wands. And it's really so basic, you guys. Like, just go in there when you're doing it. And like, I just record myself with like in Instagram, there's like that button where you can hold it down and then you can do the hands free. So I just do that inside of Instagram, no filters at all. I don't use any filters when I do this because otherwise they're not going to trust you if you use filters. So just straight up yourself doing the wands. And sometimes I'll be talking when I do it, but sometimes I'll just do the video and add music over it with a little bit of text. So I kind of change it up. But during a promotion period like this, the difference between just sharing is that you're also going to want to have a call to action on almost all of Kristi, you're like, I can't talk and do it at the same time yet. It does take time. It's very awkward at first. Um, but yeah, with like when we're in a promo time, like you want to have a call to action on almost all your stories. So every single day going, if like comment, I'll tell you what I've had success with is when I have a little text and then I'll say like comment me if you want the link. Sometime, like during the sale, when I posted the link, I got a lot of sales, but hardly ever is that the case. Like for the most part, I will say that I sell the most when I just ask them to message me. I think a lot of people like that one-on-one connection. And that's not to say you shouldn't sprinkle in links here and there. I think we should always be experimenting, but I'm just saying that for the most part, I have a lot of success when my call to action just has them comment something. Um, and then, so yeah, but when we look at all of December, so the first couple weeks are going to be calls like promoting and calls to action with the wands. But that's not to say you shouldn't also be sprinkling in your other habits that you're doing throughout the day. For example, when you take your vitamins, take a photo of your vitamins, take a video of you taking the vitamins. The only difference there is that you're not going to be officially selling them. You're just going to be more adding value and teaching, right? Like teaching what are the vitamins doing? Why do they help you? So they're still going to see that the vitamins are part of your daily habit. It's just you're not going to be like fully promoting them. You might still get questions, whereas your ones are going to have your calls to action for these next couple weeks. And then, okay, so that's the 16th. Then the second half of the month is when we'll switch over. And this is going to be really fun. We don't have all the details yet on some of the stuff that Shackley is going to be launching for the new year. But I will say this, our plan is to have a big fun New Year's group together starting on Monday, January 6th. So we'll be kind of, starting to figure out all of those details in the next couple of weeks as Shackley kind of releases. I know they're going to be doing, like Kristi mentioned, a really fun cleanse sort of package, like a 5-day cleanse is what I've heard. We'll see exactly what that looks like, but end of the year is going to be massive. It really is. But I think for now to focus on the wands is going to be a really great way for us to, get towards our goals. Like for those of you who hit director last month, I want your goal should always be, how can I hit it faster this month, right? Like it shouldn't take you, if you hit director last month, it shouldn't take you all the way to the end this month to hit it. Like, and this is some of the stuff that Kristi is going to be talking about. but we want you to be like getting there faster. And that's why we can be strategic with some of these things. Another date that we'll have for you towards the end of the month is some sort of a business opportunity call because typically, the way that the comp plan works with Shackley is you want to be signing your ambassadors up towards the end of the month so that they then have the full next month to like hopefully, get close to hitting director and launching. Now, that's not to say that right now wouldn't also be a good time because we're so early in December. Like if you have people ready to go, that's awesome. It just gets a little bit tricky middle of the month because you're like, okay, how much should I suggest that you sell this month? Because I want you to feel like that momentum of your first month. Okay, one other thing I wanted to share before I pass it over to Kristi is I wanted to share, make sure you guys all saw this calendar that Meredith put together. So Meredith Lohmeyer is so good at this kind of stuff. She's great at social media. And she put together this content calendar for social media ideas for December. It's really awesome. If you're someone that struggles to post on social media like I do, this is great because it kind of helps you to have ideas, even if you're not in like a creative space. So for me, like my stories, I have no problem doing stories, but my feed to my post feeds can sometimes be hard to think of. So this has some really great ideas on, how you can create more content on your social media feeds for December. So huge thank you to Meredith for doing that. Um, okay, what questions do you have? Anything about kind of laying out your calendar? It's real simple. And it shouldn't be like marketing shouldn't be complicated. It's just having a focus. Do you have anything that you want to know just from like a monthly standpoint that you've kind of seen work well, I guess, for people?
I just think what you were saying a second ago about really trying to get out the gates a little bit quicker is important. A lot. I'm not a big believer that racing across the finish line, the final 24 to 48 hours is sustainable. So, the sooner that you can get to things, the better. I'd also add, I posted about it this morning that we've always just kind of followed Shackley's lead. Some months we looked at our goals and we are like, gosh, I don't know how we're going to get to this end. And they've had like promos and incentives and perks and I just want to encourage everybody like go all in for the 24 to 48 hours that they're promoting it or asking you to do it. They're not going to steer you wrong. A lot of times you might have something else that you're working on. And I just feel like as I track a lot of data, I just kind of like see certain people that will buy in entirely and then they're rewarded with their business growing. And then I'll like run into our office here and I'll be like, hey, what's she at right now? What's she up to? And Amber be like, I don't know. I haven't heard from her. I'm like, okay, well, you can kind of see because I can see this lag in production or downline production. And so, really when we're running with these wands now, yeah, I get it. You might have your own ideas of how to hit your goals for this month, and that's a-okay. But you're going to have an entire team doing it. So, like, pivot for the next week or whatever it is, and just like push with us. I just think the more that everybody does that together, the more momentum and like synergy there is. And I was saying earlier, like, just inconsistent effort leads to inconsistent results. And we really want to like push everybody a little bit more so than maybe we were the last couple of years at Body to really build this to be something that is consistent and reliable. And, like I said, with some of the volume goals for the month, like something that we can kind of count on a monthly basis. So, my biggest encouragement to y'all is just, buy in the little moments that we encourage you to, and, try and get out further, like further faster. You get to that halfway point of the month and you're like closer to your goals, feels very attainable. I like getting people across, like we used to do this a lot with Body, but really trying to get people across the finish line of your goals. If you're an aspiring leader, like you should be director by mid-month, and then you should try and bring two, three, four people with you. That's how this business is ultimately built. So, my encouragement to all y'all that hit it faster and then bring somebody with you.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that. And I think, like he said, there's like little things that Shackley does. Like Kristi just reminded me of this BOGO deal that's going on today for Vivix, which is if you haven't seen that, it's pretty awesome. Because you get one bottle of Vivix, I mean, two for one, and that's today only. But so they'll do little stuff like that. But what I'm really excited for you guys to experience is that you like and truly believe is that you do not need a sale to sell here. Like people truly believe in the value of our products. And so when we have sales, great. But if you're doing your job to add value and show them why these products are amazing, they aren't going to even need to wait for a sale. I know Christine Taylor was telling me about this because she was sort of like, my people like don't really need sales. And I was like, I know. I was like, some people are like that. She's like, but it's because she's constantly in her stories sharing the value, sharing why the vitamins matter, why the skincare is awesome. And so they trust that she loves these products. And so they're just going to order from her because they trust her, not necessarily because there's a sale. And that's my goal for all of us is to get to that point where you're just like, well, what I have is amazing, so I don't need to discount it. Like when we have sales, fun, but I don't need that to build my business. Okay, so I think that's it. Oh, Mel asked, will the Wands group be in a separate group or longevity club? I would love your feedback with this because in the past we did it kind of inside and then we just had people kind of do pods of their people that ordered. So like we said, okay, the start date is this date, but then everyone had messenger threads with their people. If you want to do a separate, I'm open to feedback. So maybe just let me know what you guys think in the comments throughout. And we can kind of figure that out together. Okay, so I'm going to pass it over to Kristi Kronser. She is so goals driven, and ever since I started working with her, I'm like, oh my gosh, I like we have so many similarities, just like how we see things in business. But she like is always sharing like little things that she does to keep her eye on the next thing that she wants to accomplish. Not to mention she is a high performance coach. And so like officially with Brendan Burchard and all of that. And so she just has a lot of knowledge when it comes to setting goals. And one of the things that her and I have been talking a lot about lately is just how this comp plan is very different than body. And so she's going to talk a little bit about how can you set goals here that make sense, so that you're not just kind of schlepping along, but that you're actually making progress towards your income goals. And then, just anything else that's on her heart to share, she's going to be sharing. So, Kristi, take it away.
Thank you. Thanks for asking me to speak. I do have to shout out my team because I went through and then it was our first full month in October, and it was approximately $60,000 in sales. Like small and mighty, guys. I'm so impressed. It like makes me want to cry. I'll definitely be shouting more recognition out soon, but I want to start before I go into kind of how I set goals and really how I keep myself stretching to that next goal. And that's obviously uncomfortable, but I'll go into that in a second. There are three main things I want you guys to write down as we start. And the first thing is visualizing your goals daily. And I'll share with you how I do that. But visualizing that goal daily, if you don't have it on the front burner, if you're putting that goal on the back burner, you will get distracted by life. You will get distracted by kids. You will get distracted by social media, by the scroll, by TV, and distraction will be where you're headed, right? And it's so easy to do. And so how do we visualize and focus on the goal more? And if that's on your mind daily, you will show up daily, which is going to create that consistency so that you're stretching beyond where you're at now. I love everything you guys have accomplished in the last month, 6 months, however long you've been at Shackley. Like, celebrate that. You definitely should be celebrating that, but also there's so much more available. There is so much more available. So I'm gonna go through how I visualize that goal daily so that I am keeping it on the front burner. And then the second thing is weekly review. Every week I look through and I'm like, okay, like for that monthly goal that I have, where am I at? How close am I? Am I behind? Do I need to have more conversations? Do I need to be reaching out to more people, doing more follow-ups? Like, can I go live in my group? What are things that I can do to generate the results that I'm needing, you know, am I ahead? Am I behind? If I'm ahead, maybe I need to set the goal like further, like I need to stretch it more. You've seen Jake and Amber do that, right? Like, oh my gosh, this was the goal for the month and we're already there like a week in. Okay, we got to stretch further. They're not just like, oh, we hit it. Okay, cool. Like, let's stretch it. So weekly review. And then in my weekly review, I like to go through and see what worked. You know, Amber was kind of talking about this. When I put in my stories the link for Meology to take the quiz, I usually do have a few people that'll take the quiz. And then when I put in, hey, comment health, and I'll send you the link for the free health assessment, I also have a couple people that'll ask for it. So I like to mix that type of media. And so I'll look at my week in review. What worked? What increased my list with people that are interested, so that when I'm following up, you know, following up each month, that's going to, some of the people that are saying yes for info this month are going to enroll with you 3 months from now, right? Has a 30, 60, 90-day delay. And then of course there will be those that sign up right away. So review what's working, and you want to keep doing what's working, because that's something that I see a lot of business owners do, is they'll get sidetracked by a shiny thing. Well, this is working for someone over here, and they stop doing what's working for them. So it's really important to look at your weekly review, what's working. Okay, double down on what's working while adding a little bit. And Amber and I were talking about this. You know, my first month, I am a recruiter, and it was like recruit. And I was so afraid. I'm like, I barely had $1,000 in sales. So don't compare yourself, because I barely had $1,000 in sales, in customer sales. And then in month 2, oh my gosh, I'm losing my voice. In month 2, I decided, oh goodness, hold on. I need to figure out the customer side. And so I really focused on customer sales and like just doing it messy, figuring out what works, and had over $5,000 in sales, which for some of you isn't a big deal. For me, it was huge, because I am not a retailer. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if I can do this, anyone can do this. So reviewing that, when you look at your weekly review, what's working, double down on that, and then also stretching yourself. What's that next thing that you need to stretch yourself? If you're vice versa, maybe you're someone who's really great at retail. Okay, well, let's look at team building. How can you start talking about the opportunity a little bit more in your stories while still doing what's working for you? Is this making sense? Okay, cool. So we got visualize your goals daily, weekly scoring, reviewing yourself, what's working, where can you push, where can you stretch? And then the third thing is social support, which Amber and Jake have done such an incredible job of recognizing us. And I truly don't think that we would have accomplished what we've accomplished in 8 weeks if it weren't for them. The recognition is huge. So you also, when it comes to social support, you need to let people know what you're doing. Let your upline know, let your accountability partner know, let your success partner know, you know, let your family know, your kids know. Like, what is it that you're trying to accomplish? What is that goal? Why is that goal important to you? Like, let people in on that goal. When I first wanted to leave my full-time job, Paul was rolling his eyes at my business. He was like, that is a silly business and I don't really like it. And he would roll his eyes every time I was doing it. And I sat him down and I said, you don't have to understand this. I know it's taking time away from you. We will plan out time to have like date nights, but I'm doing this for us. I'm doing this for freedom. I'm doing this to build a business that matters. And I need your support here. Like, I had to ask for that support, right? So let people know what the goal is, why it's important to you, when you want to accomplish it by. Set deadlines, just as much as we set deadlines for customers, right? To purchase, like, hey, the wand sale ends on November 5th. You better get your wands in. Had so many people come in after the fact. It's really important that you're setting deadlines with your goals, because you will let yourself off the hook. Which brings me to actually one thing I did want to cover is, I wrote this down, choices. What choices can you make today that will start increasing your confidence account? What choices can you make today that will start increasing your confidence account? Every decision you make is either helping or hurting your confidence. When you say, I'm going to build my business, but life got in the way, challenges got in the way. When you set a big goal, challenges are going to come up. They are going to come up. When I started this business, I had so many challenges in the first 3 weeks. I could spend a whole call telling you all of the challenges that wanted to like dump in my plate, things that would just like bring you to your knees and make you want to cry. And I did. I cried and I got into action and I did it because I had big goals, right? So you are going to be making choices all day long. Choose ones that build character, choose ones that build your belief, choose ones that build that confidence account. Okay, and then we come to consistency, right? We all know that consistently doing the work, but we want to set those bigger goals that are stretching us, because when we are challenging ourselves, that's when we feel amazing. If we start just finding ourselves going through the motions, it starts to feel ugh, right? Like there's not something bigger and greater that we're pushing for. And when we have bigger challenges and we are stretching ourselves, it's when we feel amazing. Like I always think of this, it's kind of a weird thing, but I couldn't ski. My husband's a backcountry skier. We moved to Tahoe. He's like skiing at our back door. I'm like, okay, I gotta learn how to ski. So he takes me to the mountain and he gets me off. He pushes me off the lift, the chairlift, and he's like, pizza. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. And I don't know how I survived and made it down the hill. But we went like 3 days a week and I learned to ski. And it's still really hard when you're learning in your mid-30s, now almost 40. But when I finally was able to get down the mountain and like go to like a challenging hill, I was like, oh my gosh, I did it. I didn't die and I made it. And it felt so incredible, right? Challenging things that are outside of our comfort zones help us feel amazing. Okay. So now I'm going to share with you guys, going back to what I said at the beginning was, what is the goal? And then how do I keep that visually? Like, do I sit here and visualize it? You totally can. I'm really bad at that. So I actually have it in front of me every day. Can you guys see this? Okay, awesome. So income, for those of you who don't know me, I used to work in finance. I was in financial management, wealth management. I was a financial advisor. And so I love talking money. So I love this part of our compensation plan, how they show the different incomes for each rank. And when I started, I looked at this and the first thing I said was, okay, like I messaged Amber. I'm like, I will be like one of your people so that you get to presidential master coordinator. Like I will be that person and you're going to go presidential master coordinator. I'm like setting goals for her. She probably already had it. But I looked at this and some of you don't know me. I own my mom's house. I pay the mortgage on my mom's house. So there's a lot riding on, losing a business at Beachbody and building a business here. And so I am very focused on my goals and making sure that I don't ever have to sell my mom's house. Like I want to take care of her. There's a long story to that. So that's my why. I'm going to start crying now. That's my why behind when I look at this every day. It's super important to me that I'm showing up and that I'm building a business and I'm doing whatever I can each day, whether someone buys from me or not. I'm showing up consistently to plant those seeds so that I can get to this top rank. The one thing I want to share with you guys is when you're looking at this, I know some of you see this presidential master coordinator or master coordinator and you're like, yeah, but, and I want you to build belief like one day at a time. Like, so maybe you're a director right now. Okay, well, let's have you look 3 steps ahead. Like, let's have you look at senior coordinator, right? Senior coordinator is two directors. You've gotten to director. So now it's continuing to do what you're doing, but talking about the opportunity more so that you can find 2 people to do this with you. And that's really how I looked at it. I looked at presidential master coordinator. I'm like, okay, I don't know. That could take me 2 years. That could take me 5 years. That could take me 10 years. It doesn't matter. I will look at my goals 10 years out. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. And it might take me 10 years. And that's okay if it does. There's going to be a lot of learning and growth and excitement along the way. But it won't happen if I'm not pushing, challenging, and stretching myself each day, right? If I'm not figuring out, okay, what can I try? What can I have fun with? And I always think of leading my team, like if they did everything I did today, would they be successful? If they copied what I did today in their own business, would they be successful? And so I also want you guys to think about that. Like you are leaders. a lot of you are at director, and I know that you can be a key coordinator, a master coordinator, whatever that goal is for you. So I looked at this and I looked at the income, and this is the income. This is the income here. So I'm like, this is where I'm going. And 10 directors, the volume is scary. It's totally scary. I'm not there yet. But my first goal, my very first month was senior director. And once I was scared. I was terrified. I'm like, I don't know that I can do that. I was telling Amber, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to hit senior director. It seems so scary. I was beyond terrified. And then coordinator, I don't know where I got. I think I got, no, yeah, executive coordinator. I think I got to executive coordinator. So I went way beyond, but every time I hit that next goal, there's a new director. Okay, I'm going to help another director. I'm going to watch the PTV. I'm going to watch the organizational volume. So I was paying attention to it. Looking at customer sales commissions, 10,000, that's the goal. My goal is presidential master coordinator and $10,000 in commissions. Both of those scare the crap out of me. I want to use a different word, but they really do. They terrify me. But I just show up. I just show up and figure it out along the way. So this sits on my computer. This is how I visualize my goals daily. And you know, the goal that I really want to hit, you know, in the next couple months, which seems like a huge stretch goal, is master coordinator. It's a big stretch goal. I might fall flat on my face, and that's okay, because in pushing and stretching to get there, I'm going to get a lot closer than if I'm just aiming for the bare minimum of what I know I can accomplish. Yeah, so I keep this anyways. Visualize. This is what I do. I visualize this daily. I look at my dashboard daily. I'm like, okay, where are we at? And I'm going to stop the share now. I have a list of all my customers. I have a list of all my team, and I'm making sure that I'm following up with my team, like setting their next goal. Colleen hit senior director. Congrats, Colleen. Which is so exciting. You guys, she was an emerald when we left Body. She was an emerald coach. She was earning $120 she earned $120 in September. And I think in October, she earned over $900. Of course, there's no guarantee of income and all of that all those great things, but senior director, it makes me want to cry. And, you know, I reached out to her and like, all right, this is the next goal, coordinator. Like we're stepping it up. I don't know, maybe her top goal, is her top goal presidential master coordinator? Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. So that's where she's going. But like the next goal is coordinator. And we just get there one step at a time. And if I look at presidential master coordinator, I get overwhelmed and I shut down and think I can't do it. But I'm like, but that is the big goal. That's the vision. I look at the income, like where's that income that you want to be for your family? Where is the income that you want to be for your family? Because I know some of you have hit certain goals in your business and you're like, yeah, that's great. This is great. And there's a belief problem. You don't believe that you can get the next rank, or you don't believe that sometimes I see women that they're worth the income. Like there's a money mindset problem there. Like, I can't do that, but you can. And so we just got to stretch you a little bit further. Like, what's that next goal? Is it coordinator? Is it senior coordinator? And then when you look at that, okay, like the volume, you can get there between customers, you can get there from enrolling people onto your team. How many directors do you need? Do you need to talk about the business a little bit more? So, okay, next question. I have 3 questions for you guys what are your 3 biggest goals in your business over the next 3 months, and why are they important to you? And I do want you to type at least one in the chat. What are your 3 biggest goals in your business over the next 3 months, and why are they important to you? 3 biggest goals in your business. Why are they important to you? Andrea, reaching director. It'll mean I'm supplementing my family's income in a measurable way, and that I'm helping more families live healthier lives. Liz, hit senior director because that means I'll be building a team. Yes, I love it. Rob, to hit director as well. You're very close last month. I love it. Hit that and then on to senior director. Jake and Amber, senior master coordinator, important to me because when we get there as a team, it means more people on the team are winning. Kristen, I want to hit a consistent weekly income to help us supplement current family income, getting 500 in customer sales so I can hit star bonus, working on hitting director. Love that. Next question. Do you have daily, weekly habits that are moving your business forward? What are your daily and weekly habits that are moving your business forward? Yeah, Trisha, hit director this month, bring in $1,000 consistently a month, and then senior director. Dom, Star Club bonus, volume income to feel momentum, meet new moms, women in your town, friends and fun. Colleen, key coordinator, scale to 5,000 a month in income, all team members earning 30%. Ooh, I like it. Cass, executive director, means replacing a big portion of my consistent income and helping many people I never had the chance to help with my time and body. Yeah. Rob, connect with 40 to 60 people every day, bring in new people to my free group every day. Yeah. So that was I think the question of what are your daily, weekly habits that are moving your business forward? Cool. And then the last question, if you're going to be 10 times more successful in the next 6 months than you were in the last month or than you were in the last 6 months, what habits do you need to start implementing? What habits do you need to start implementing? And what do you need to stop doing? If you're going to be 10 times more successful in the next 6 months than you were in the last month or than you were in the last 6 months, what habits would you need to start implementing? What do you need to stop doing? I think the coolest thing about goals is that when we're focused on them each day, we start searching for solutions instead of problems. We start asking ourselves better questions. What do I have to learn to make that goal happen? What are some habits that I need to add to make that goal happen? What are things that I need to stop doing so I have time to add those habits to make the goal happen? And the last thing that I want to leave you guys with is courage. Those big goals on your heart, if you're like, I said that, but it's scary. Awesome. Like, are you doing things that scare you? Have the courage, because when you have the courage to go after those big goals, those big dreams on your heart, that energy that you feel from doing the scary thing, that's going to radiate in your stories. That's going to radiate in the conversations that you have. It's contagious, and more people are going to want to join you in growing this business. And oh, one more thing that I have to say, I wrote down, this is kind of gut punch. In Beachbody, so many people would say to me, oh, if I only joined you 5 years ago, if I only joined you at the beginning. Y'all, this is truly the beginning. Like, I look at Shackley and it's ground floor opportunity. It really is a wide open market. And we're here right now. And I feel like I can't work fast enough because I'm like, in 5 years, I'm gonna look back and be like, what an incredible ride. And I know this time around, you know, I keep referring to Beachbody because I accomplished a lot there. I'm super grateful for it. I'm super grateful for the team that I met that came with me here to Shackley. But now I know that they can accomplish the financial freedom that they have on their hearts for their families too. And together we're going to do even more incredible things because we're better together, and you're all here for a reason. I'm so excited to see where we're all going to be in 5 years because we're going all in now. All right, that's all. That's all I have for you.
Thank you so much. That was so good. So, so good. I was like rapidly taking notes over here. Just so many good things to think about. Because gosh, I mean, it's all these things that I feel like get stuck inside, right? Because it's like day to day when we're trying to make things happen. It's like these thoughts in our minds, it's like you said, it's the only thing holding us back, really, is those thoughts. And so just to even see, and I really appreciate everyone's vulnerability too in the chat, just like sharing, this is where I'm at. This is what I need to do more of. This is what's scary to me because I think when we can hit those face on, then you're like, oh, well, actually, when I say that, I actually believe I could overcome that. So that was just so, so helpful. Thank you so much, Kristi. Does anyone have questions for Kristi? Anything she shared? Or maybe you're just at a roadblock yourself and you're just like, how do I get to the next level here? I know one thing that Jake and I were chatting about a little bit too, while you're thinking of your questions, is just how, you know, even if you're someone that you hit director and you don't have people that are ready to work with you, don't feel like that's a reason to hold yourself back because, like Kristi mentioned on the personal volume side, it's possible that you could be earning more as a director than someone who's a senior director because they're not focused on the personal sales volume. And I mean, I think about Liz, even you know, I know that you're like, oh, I gotta recruit, but she sold over $3,000 in product last month. Like, that's insane, you know? And so this month she hit a commission tier where she's gonna really feel that and how much of a difference that makes. And so just at Body, what we did, right, a lot of times was you would hit diamond and you'd be like, okay, phew, I'm here. I'm just gonna sit. And then you'd hit Success Club, like, oh, phew, Success Club 5. What we did see last month, for those of you that hit director that didn't do much beyond that, and this was not everybody, but I just want you to be mindful of it, is that director is not a stopping point, right? Like, even if you don't have people working the business with you, you can still be focused on that personal sales side to earn more income that way. So there's always, what I love about this comp plan is there's always a goal you can be working on, even if you don't have people on your team to get to those next ranks, you can always still be working on that. Yeah, I mean, so many of
Can
you.
I add?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why I was so excited when we came here. I was like, oh my gosh, 10,000 in sales, $4,000 a month in income. Like that's $48,000 a year. And so when I saw that, I was like, anyone can build this business. Like anyone can build this business. If I sell $5,000 in product, anyone can build this business because that is not my forte. And I'm so glad you brought that up because, yeah, like focus, like there's always another level, right? So you can do commission, you can focus on your retail sales while still talking about the business, while you're planting seeds to find those people that want to grow with you.
One thing I also want to make sure I encourage everybody, because we were talking about this before earlier too, and Kristi's team does a really good job of this, and I think it's an important opportunity for the rest of us as leaders to step up our games. Your organizational volume matters, right? As you start pushing towards all of those goals, you need org volume. Org volume is below your level one leaders. So as you are developing a team, I think different perspective than with Body, where you were just like, you had your coaches directly underneath you. They were either pushing for Emerald, Ruby, your director, or they weren't. So you would pay attention to them, and then some of them would kind of fall off. Here, like, you want to understand your downline. You want to understand who your level 1, 2, 3, 4 leaders are. And as you start building out in your comp plan, those people end up contributing towards various bonuses and incentives that you can make for for financial income. So anytime that we're doing recognition or shout outs, like please, especially if you're aspiring to any of these like big rank advancements, please understand your downline. Know your downline, support your downline, cheer for your downline. Not just like the one person that you know or the one person that's pushing for director, but like that's what there's got to come kind of like a metric where we stop, because by the end of the month, I think I was tracking like 65 people. So that was insane. But so that's where like 500 to me is like, okay, lights are on. Okay, I'm trying. But those are posted, especially as we get into the heart of the month, we try and make sure that those are up every day. Please take time to like cheer on people, legitimately cheer on people, because the one thing that I'm reading in all of these in this thread is so many of you like truly believe you can win. And like if you can see it, that's because you're probably winning. And if we can just get more people to see that they can win, all of us, like organizations wide, because ours is a ripple effect, are just going to continue to win and win and win. And the difference between this and body is that really like matters. We've got nothing that we're cycling through by left leg, right leg here. This is like truly like we build this the right way, and all of us are going to have like significant opportunities for our families now and down the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think being engaged in the group, and don't feel like, Jake and I are both includers, and we want everyone to feel like you matter too. Like, just because you might not be at director yet, or you might not have hit a Star Club bonus yet, like I want you engaged in the chat just as much as top leaders are, because you have something so significant to contribute, even if you haven't translated it to this business yet. Like you have other life experiences, other leadership things that you've learned in life. And so I hope too that like you feel freedom and that you're welcomed to comment on the chat and in the group. Like we see everyone as so valuable. So, I know the chats get crazy and all that stuff, but please don't shrink yourself or feel like, oh, like, Kristi Kronser just shared, and like, I don't know if what I would share would be as valuable as her. Like, no, that's not how, and I know Kristi feels like the same way as me on that. So like everyone has something to voice. And so please feel free to engage and ask questions and all the things. Like we want you guys to win so much.
Can I say one thing before like I post it? Because I'm working on our Star Club report.
Oh yeah.
And this is like seriously the coolest freaking thing ever. So last month, because I just ran these numbers, we had 198 Star Club bonuses. 198 as a team. Okay. What that translates to is just shy of $15,000 in bonuses paid out. Like, I say this to Josh Spencer all the time. We laugh because we're like, or we could have gotten like a hat. That was like how we used to be rewarded, is like some crappy hat that we wouldn't wear. Like almost $15,000 in bonuses paid. Like, how cool is that? That recognition post is taking forever because there's like 85 people that got Star Club bonuses.
That's so awesome.
So that's really cool.
Love it. Love it. Okay. Any last questions or thoughts? Kristi, do you have anything else you want to share?
Yeah, I've been reading the chat, and so I wanted to add a couple things. One was consistency in talking about the business, the products, your story, all of the things. It's repetition. Like you can't talk about it too much. Sometimes it feels like that, and I definitely felt like that coming here. I was like, I'm talking about meology again. Like I'm talking about the personalized vitamins again. How many different ways can I say that? Don't they see my story? Don't they see my post? We have what's called the spotlight effect. We think what's going on in our head, in our lives, that other people know, and they don't. They have no clue because they have the whole spotlight effect going on in their own lives. And so a lot of times when they're going through your stories, even if they saw it, they didn't stop and read it. It didn't catch their attention. So it was uncomfortable for me at the beginning to talk about things so much. And I'm so thankful for Amber because I'll just go to her stories. I'm like, oh, she does this so great. It's so informative. I'm going to go talk about those things. And so that's really helped me to be like, okay, if she's doing it, I can do it. It helps give me confidence to know I'm not oversharing. Every time I'm talking about meology, because it has been such a game changer for me, I do have, one or two people reach out. Those people aren't purchasing. So this was another question that was in the chat. I create a list of everyone that asks for the quiz, that asks for information. I have that list and I follow up with them. But if they're not replying, they get like, everyone's different with this. It's just what feels comfortable for me. So don't judge yourself. Do it the way that works for you, that's authentic to you. For me, I will follow up about 2 times. So, I send them the information. I'm going to send 2 follow-ups. If they're not replying, I am going to put them on my monthly follow-up list and they're going to get engagement. I'm going to go to their page and be interested in what they're saying. I'm going to reach out. That's not a business follow-up or a product follow-up and say, hey, I saw that, your dog just had a birthday, whatever it may be, right? Like, happy birthday. If I see a birthday on social media, like their kid's birthday, I'll privately message them and say, oh my goodness, I saw your son just turned 7 years old. Happy birthday. How was the party? Right? Something of being interested in them versus just another like follow-up. Is that helpful? Because that seems to be a question that's come up a lot. And I know we all want immediate gratification. I do too. I'm like, you ask for info, just buy it. I get it. I'm like, it will help you. Please, they want to shake you, go buy it. They won't. They won't. That just won't work out well for me or them. So just consistency and adding value, consistency and continuing to share that story. A lot of the people that are purchasing have asked for information like 5 times before they order something.
That's so good. To normalize that is like key. That's so good. I'm so glad you shared that.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? Anything else? No. Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Kristi. That was super helpful. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.